Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. Hope you're enjoying the international break. We've been quiet for a few days, but we've still been working behind the scenes. Lots of FPL content and also a lot of data being gathered on the injuries that we've had over the first 8 game weeks of the season. But now we'll have a look at those injuries which could potentially impact your thoughts and team selection news ahead of game week 9. And we start with Newcastle. There's been lots of talk with regards to the availability of Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson, and even Bruno Guimaraes. And we'll start with Saint-Maximin, always very helpful and active on social media, and particularly Instagram. Now, he's been posting updates recently. Again, he's back out in France, down at the south of France with his own personal physio. It's at the Stade Didier Deschamps. He's working away there. Now, Eddie Howe, ahead of game week 8, confirmed that the French winger had suffered a minor setback, and that could potentially keep him out of the game in game week 9 against Fulham. That remains to be seen as it currently stands. It hangs in the balance. It may be the fact that it is a hamstring injury, high re-injury, high recurrence rate, and the additional issues around that mini setback means that we may be held back. We need to see Alan Saint-Maximin back with the group on Newcastle on Tyneside from next week to give him any chance of being involved. Callum Wilson, he is a player that we would certainly look to be pushing for a place in the squad. Whether he's fit enough or ready enough to start from the beginning remains to be seen. However, his timely return coincides with the absence of Alexander Isak from the seeding squad. He trained away from the main group due to a muscle problem, and on Thursday they confirmed that he actually been released. Now, no further news with regards to the extent of that, but like I say, it was enough to keep him out of the upcoming internationals. Bruno Guimaraes, Brazil face Ghana in a friendly, and reports emanating from Brazil around the early hours of late Tuesday, early hours of Wednesday suggested that the Newcastle midfielder complained of a problem in his thigh. Now, the big concern here, again, is he's just returned from a hamstring problem. Now, this latest issue isn't related. So thankfully, team doctor said it's a 50-50 situation on whether he's included in that squad against Ghana. He may be placed on the bench, but because it's a non-competitive friendly, like I say, I would suggest that no risks will be taken. So thankfully, it looks at this point as if it isn't too bad, and we should see Bruno Guimaraes back in the Newcastle team and available for selection. Couple of updates with regards to John Joe Shelby coming along really nice. Early timelines suggested that it might have been after the World Cup, potential return in Boxing Day, but he may be pushing slightly ahead of schedule. Elsewhere, main talking points, Arsenal. We heard about Martin ODEGAARD. We know that he had that calf problem that kept him out of the win over Brentford. He is with the Norwegian national team, but whether his involvement will be either actually as a playing member of staff or, as a national team coach said, as a fourth coach spurring on his teammates from the sidelines, remains to be seen. There are concerns with regards to that, and that will be one that Mikel Arteta will be monitoring very closely. I think open lines of communication there continue. For Chelsea, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, now, we know he was suffering from that fractured jaw, but he also reveals that he's still not 100%, having arrived from Barcelona with a knock. He's hoping to get up to speed as soon as humanly possible. Edward Mendy, ongoing knee issue, believed to be a tendonitis, overuse, overloading problem. It was initially referenced by Thomas Tuchel, and in the latest update from Graham Potter, echoed the same sentiments. It isn't something that isn't believed to be too serious, but it needs to be managed, and assessments continue on a daily basis. Therefore, he's out of the upcoming internationals. However, there is a strong possibility that he could return after the international break. For Chelsea, we know Kepa has been keeping that number one spot warm in his absence. And also N'Golo Kante, he's closing in on a return following a hamstring problem. He's been sidelined since mid-August. Again, ongoing issues here, worries that he need to be managed very carefully given the number of setbacks that he has in recent times. Aston Villa, injury problems beginning to mount for Steven Gerrard. Now, we've seen Kamara limp off in that last game against Southampton, that 1-0 win, give a slight indication that he's suffering from a knee problem. The club have confirmed that it was a ligament issue. They did not state the precise nature of the problem, but I understand that it is MCL. Now they're saying that he's already undertaken his rehab program. Again, nothing definitive in terms of a timeline or time frame as to the extent of that problem, but we've seen the likes of marvellous Nakamba last season for the Villains spent almost or close to 4 months on the sidelines. We hope it's not as serious as that. Certainly no mention of surgery. If it is that MCL, you can treat that one. It does respond really well to conservative treatment. Also, concerns with regards to Lucas Digne. Now, he's been released from the French squad after picking up an injury in training. They referenced that as an ankle injury. They also said it was a stress-related response. Now, whether this has been lost in a little bit of translation with L'Equipe, who initially broke the story, remains to be seen. He returned to be assessed. They state that the fullback, the left back, could be on the sidelines for several weeks. So that would be a concern. Like I say, hopefully Matty Cash will be back on the opposite flank with a hamstring issue. He missed the games for Poland. Elsewhere, quick roundup, nothing really major. Martin Dubravka withdrawn from the Serbia squad. He's the backup keeper at Manchester United, now, of course, on loan from Newcastle. He did miss the Europa League game against Sheriff, so I don't know if those two are related with regards to that. For Leicester, Wilfred Ndidi, he's also out of the Super Eagles squad. For Liverpool, Naby Keita, what we all knew and expected or thought would be the case. Jurgen Klopp said, the midfielder wouldn't be back in maybe till mid to late October. Guinea Football Federation, they confirmed that Naby Keita isn't fit enough and therefore he was released. But better news with regards to that Liverpool midfield. We've seen the withdrawal of Calvin Phillips from the England squad, and Gareth Southgate called up Jordan Henderson. Now, he's been managing his own hamstring issue. Wasn't expected to return, but he has been included. So again, that's a good indication that he's progressing really nicely. And if he can get some minutes ahead of game week 9, then that would be to the benefit of Liverpool. Also good news for Nottingham Forest supporters, Moussa Niakhaté. He's on the verge of a comeback from his own long-term hamstring problem, called into that Senegal squad for the upcoming internationals against Bolivia and Iran. Whether he's fit enough to take a part remains to be seen, but certainly with regards to his domestic involvement, that's just around the corner. Also, Forest teammate Emmanuel Dennis, he's picked up an unspecified knock. He was called up, a late call-up on international duty, but won't be involved. And that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed your quick daily injury roundup. We'll be back probably as we approach game week 9. Make the most of your time during this international break, because we have fixtures coming thick and fast between now and the World Cup in Qatar and that winter break in November. See you all again very soon.